Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life.
And Professor Sunreis Productions!
Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. Today we're gonna talk about the future of Brave Virtual World. So, as you all know, Power of the Elements is scheduled to release in early August. I think it's the 8th or 7th of August. I'm gonna put it in right here. And as you've probably noticed, with Splite and Tier Elements being in there, the meta's gonna shift out like crazy. There's a huge hype about both of these decks, especially Tier Elements, as it actually overtook Splite later on in the meta. We won't know for sure how it will eventually turn up like here. We don't have Maxi, so the Splite deck might be a little bit worse. We don't have the Ishizu support here, I think, so the Tier Elements might not be as good as well, but we have one crazy card in there as well. It's a punk card. Let's talk about that card in this video because it is crazy good for Brave Virtual World or Virtual World in general. So without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some feedback down below, and let's get right into the video. So the card in question is this beautiful beast of a card, Punk Jam Dragon Drive. Of course the name could still change, it is an OCG name just translated. TCG likes to change those. It's a Synchro 8 which does need one Psychic tuner, so this is accessible by basic Punk engine lines. So let's get into the effects. One of them is insane, the other one definitely has some applications if you play a very purish Punk deck. If this card is Synchro Summoned or Special Summoned by a Punk card effect, you can pay 600, take one Psychic level 3 monster from a deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. So on basic Punk combos, you can go into the Synchro 8, like I say, chaining 1 this, chaining 2 Deer Note, actually chain blocking this, and then either adding a Lulu, or even in the end if you already have a Lulu, just so that you have a free discard, and getting back the card which you added, which you discarded or sent to the graveyard of the Foxy Tune. Then, if your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of a Punk card or effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Just for free, you can special summon this card out of the graveyard, and then, if this card is special summoned by a Punk card effect, which it is a Punk card, you can actually add back again, which is completely insane, and which is like a saving grace, which I have for like the second variant I have planned out for this deck, because this could make it so that you can actually grind insanely well with the Punk engine and make some very cool plays with it. But let's talk about the 1, 2, 3 combos I have in mind with this card in the extra deck, of course, and then talk about the deck lists which I have, or the 2 deck lists which I have in mind for this deck. Talk about the pros and cons of both deck lists, and give you guys all the information you will have for Brave, Punk, maybe Brave, a lot of Punk, Virtual World in the future, and especially post Power of the Elements. So let's just see what one single e-tailer can now do for Virtual World. It is completely insane. You will need one discard for that. Let's talk about that. But that's just basic Punk stuff. So one e-tailer of course gets you the Z-Armin. Z-Armin effect to search out the Foxy Tune. Where is it? Here it is. Then use Foxy Tune effect, sending anything. Of course, there could be an Enchantress, could be a Quinlock, but it doesn't really matter too much what you send here. It's just one dead card out of the hand. So now we summon the Deer Knob, nothing too crazy here. Normally you would go into a Pepega Ruler here, but we will go into the Dragon Driver, chaining 1 Dragon Driver, chaining 2 Z-Armin, making it so that we can search a Lulu and resummon the Z-Armin, and then we can link those two off into a Hulky Fibrex, effect Hulky Fibrex. We'll be able to summon out a Lulu out of the deck. Then we can Lulu on the Lulu, sending Quinglong, adding Chucha, and then we can summon that, use the Quinglong, banish itself, get the GG, and then GG on the Lulu. This is a little crusty, this is only one card, so here we actually have to send the Chucha, just so that you can get the Chucha pop alive, and then you can synchro these off into a Charge Robber, you draw one random card, and then you can either go for a Crystal Wing or for a Shenshen, depending on the matchup. Do this, set 1, Chucha on the Shenshen, add back Lulu in the end phase. So this is what you get of one singular e-tailer or one singular Z-Armin resolve, which is a lot already, and you can even make it go further, and I'm gonna show you how. So let's say we have one emergency teleport and one Kowloon, or any other way to get a virtual on the field. This could even be a Qinglong depending on the rest of your hand. It could be a Gigi or a Lulu, which you can just normal summon. It could be a Nian, or just an additional Italy. Anything which will get you a virtual on the field. Of course, the start of the combo is gonna be exactly the same. Itele, get the Armen, effect, pay 600, get Foxy Tune, discard anything, summon Deer Node, and then of course we're gonna sync her up into the Dragon driver, chaining one Dragon driver, chaining two Deer Node, targeting the Foxy Tune actually. So we chain block that. If you count the summons here, we are on. Let's get the Lulu here. We are on 1-2 of the Deer Node. So Siam and Deer Node 2. That's the third summon. That's the fourth summon. So on fifth summon, we can actually build a Photon Lord, which is actually an out to Nibiru. So now we have Nibiru protection, and we don't need to go into an Hulky Fibrex because we can just activate the Kowloon, and we will have a virtual on there. And from here on out, you without a virtual in the hard name, like no Lulu, no Gigi, no Lao, no Lily, and just one Etel and one Kowloon, you actually have full virtual combo with Nip protection, and it becomes even easier to play through Nip plus hand trap with this deck, which is completely insane, as it's like the God combo. And with the new Synchro 8 of the Punks, this actually becomes quite like a normal hand trap, almost, for Brave Virtual. So it can play through Nip plus Imperm, like other decks play through one, or like one hand trap and like in a good going second card. It's completely insane what this can do, but this is not even the end of what this can actually do for you guys. So the last thing I want to show you guys is something which I'm not too 100% sure about, but the combo itself is still really strong. I think it's just the other things which might make this variant of Punk VV Virtual not really that cool. Anyways, I'm gonna show it to you. Anyways, depending on the meta, it could definitely be the best thing, or the ban list even. So the Armen, search Foxy Tune, effect Foxy Tune, send something, summon the Deer Node, and then you just go with these two into the Dragon driver. As you can see, it is a different main and extra deck. Dragon driver chaining 1, the Armen chaining Deer Node, targeting the Armen chaining 2. Getting the Lulu here. Of course, you can send a Neon if you really need it, but there's like very few hands where you want to send a Neon with this. I've yet in my testing seen one, but it could definitely come up. You will link these into an Hulky Fibrex, effect Hulky Fibrex, summoning a Lulu here. Of course, it would be cool if you could summon something different. It does make the lines kind of awkward, but it's just one card, right? So you're not gonna complain about that. So basic virtual stuff here. Lulu on Lulu, send Qinglong at GG, send at Chucha. Holy shit, I hate these names. I'm kidding, Mami Shenshen, I love these names. Qinglong, banish, add something, discard something. It does take 2 discards, which is definitely hefty, but you can get them back, and once you have other virtuals in the hand, this combo plays out way more fluently than it actually feels like, trust me guys. So Gigi and Lulu go into a Charge Warrior here. Effect Charge Warrior, we draw one. Here we then go into the Shenshen. Use Chuch on it, which we would have sent with the Gigi, of course. So this is now level 6, but it's gonna turn into a level 9 again. Set 1 and pass, and this feels kind of underwhelming, right? But in this variant, you actually have the space to use the Hulk of Fibrex. So in the opponent's turn, you have a Chucha, you have a Shenshen, and once the opponent is committing too much, or the Shenshen has like got most of its value out, you can use the Hulky Fibrex to go into Formula Synchron, effect Formula Synchron to draw 1 card, and then you can actually go into the Punk Amazing Dragon, which is the Synchro 9, so Tuner 2 and non-Tuner 9 go into the Amazing Dragon, and the Amazing Dragon has an amazing effect, pun definitely intended. You can target your opponent's cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 psychic monsters with different names you control or in your graveyard, and return them to hand. So you currently have 1-2 monsters, but if you have a Neon in there, which you a lot of times will not have, you can actually get a bounce 3 on your opponent's hand, which completely should get them out of their turn if you play correctly, or they just had everything and you can't do a lot. But remember guys, this is only 1 card and it requires 2 discards, but you'll get 1 card back from that. So there's so much extensions you can get off with, and let's talk about the 2 deck lists which I have in mind, and why I think one of them is definitely the way to go, at least for now. Just if we were like in this manner right now, I would definitely take one over the other, but let's just talk about the deck lists. So let's talk about the list. This is the list which actually ran the Formula Synchron play, which I think is really cool. It just takes a lot of extra deck space. So it's not something which I realistically can see. Not only does it take a lot of extra deck space, it also doesn't run the Brave engine, so you lack an Omni Negate. So that's like a big contra in my opinion. It's like the only thing, but it's also like the biggest. Lacking an Omni Negate on the end board is huge. For that, you still have amazing consistency. You have way more starters into the combo. You make better use of the extra deck space which you take, because you have like 6 extra deck spaces, and you have like 9 to 10. You could even play 12 starters if you wanted to. I think there's no Neon in this list because it didn't save, but there should be like that. So now the list is complete. So you have no Omni Negate, but you do have more starters into the 1-card combo. You make better use of the extra deck space which you use, while you also use more. So the amount of utility you have in the extra deck is somewhat similar. It's just that you have a better usage of the extra deck which you use for the Punk engine. Of course, you don't use the extra deck space for the Brave engine, but in my opinion, this is definitely something you should take a look at. Maybe you can even cut some of the Punk starters, like 1 or 2 maybe, and fit in more hand traps. That way you could actually in theory play like 12 hand traps. Maybe cut like 1 Foxy Tune, or like maybe even 2 Foxy Tune, who knows. Maybe 1 Foxy Tune, 1 Xiamen, and then you have a lot of ways into the virtual engine, and you at best have 12 hand traps, which is like the golden ratio you want to have right now to see like 2 hand traps, which would definitely be something cool. But in my opinion, this is actually not the way to go, mainly because you really want an Omni Negate in the end board, especially right now, as evenly as like in so many side decks right now. And in game 1, if they see your combo, or if this deck like maybe takes off or something, and they know that evenly doesn't just completely annihilates the board, they will definitely side it in, and then you have 1 more auto lose card in the side deck, which you of course want to minimize. So in my opinion, it's actually quite good to just play the current Brave Virtual list like you do it, and just put in the 1 Xiamen, 1 Foxy Tune, 1 Deer Nerd, and even put in 1 Snow. But we'll talk about that. So the Brave engine, the virtual engine is still the same. The Brave engine is basically the same. Currently, I am on 2 rides, and I cut 1 defensive card, so we have 9 defensive cards in this, and I cut 1 ride just because to make some space for cards. You could definitely even cut this, put this to 3, and just max out on like good 1-card starters. Definitely something to think about, but then you have an even lower chance of seeing defensive cards. And then, of course, we have 3 Italy, and then just the Arm and Foxy Tune Deer Note. That's the bare minimum. It is like 1 heartbreak. There's just nothing. Foxy Tune is okay to draw. It can give you the armor on the board, and especially if you have a way to get a body on the field, so an additional Italy, or an additional... Wait, if you had Italy with just summon the Armor. So it basically is just Enchantress, or like Ride, or even a Fateful. If you have another way to get a body on the board, in testing it came up quite a bit that I summons the Armor of the Foxy Tune, affect the Armor, search Deer Note, and then Cupid summon the Deer Note over something. Can come up, so it's not the end of the world if you draw a Foxy Tune, and the Armor of course is just 1 starter. And then just play it like this. You have to switch up the extra deck. You have to make space for the Dragon Driver, the Hulky Fibrax, and then you have 1 weird extra deck space. So you could still play 1 Fan. You could still play 1 Synchro 7, which we cut. You could play the 1 Gaia Charge Warrior. But in my opinion, just to get the most ceiling out of the engine, I decided to put in 1 Galaxy Ice Photon Lord to get that nip protection play. Definitely have to decide if this is worth it, as it's just 4 main deck slots which start the combo, of 1 of which does conflict with 1 other engine we play. So it is kind of iffy if you really want to commit like 3 extra deck spaces for that. 2 is like already quite a bit in my opinion, but it's definitely worth it just because it's a 1-card starter. It just makes it so weird that you have like an Hulky Firebrax lying around on the field and you don't get anything from it. But most importantly, because we're not playing Gaia Charge Warrior and we're actually playing more engines which fill out our graveyard, Fairy Tail Snow actually becomes kind of good in this deck. Depending on the meta, of course, it could definitely be a token collector, and then we have like 10 defensive cards, which is like kind of cool. On 43, that's definitely fine in my opinion. But snow is definitely something you guys have to take into consideration. Maybe even for the other list which I was running, maybe you could even fit like a Beatrice Snow on this one, depending on the meta, depending on the ban list, depending on so many factors, which is so cool, which is why I love this game, by the way. Just the meta evolving every 1 to 2 to 3 weeks. It's so cool. But yeah, this is like a quick overview I want to give you guys. I don't want to go too in-depth in this deck list just because the set is not gonna release for like another month, so the meta could definitely switch up a lot until then. I don't think we have. Do we have one more product releasing by then? I don't even know, but there could be even a ban list, which it's very unlikely a ban list gonna come out. But we still don't have like a clue of how big of an impact Blight and Tree Elements will have into this meta. We just know it's gonna be big, which is of course cool because the power scaling is gonna go up, but a virtual list still gets something from the deck, so it will not be left behind completely, and we have some nice new tools to play with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you could learn something from this video of Dragon Driver. It's an amazing punk card. It will help this deck out immensely. I could even see some play in like the punk adventure, punk synchron piles we have right now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This class is dismissed. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.